You've had stints in different ministries. Which stint proved to be the most challenging and why?
Wow. Okay. Wow, I thought that question is very obvious. But okay, I'll put it this way.
How do you feel about the atmosphere of GE 2020 as compared to GE 2015?
GE 2020 is surreal. Previously we met in person. We talk through the plans. Now it's all through Zoom. I don't think in my wildest imagination I could ever have thought that, you will campaign wearing a face mask. I believe one day, when all is said and done, we will look back at this point in our history and really record it as one of those moments, defining moments.
You made a Facebook post about our women in white. What are your thoughts on the new female candidates?
We have been, reaching out to more women. In the earlier days, a lot of the women's wings activities were more socially oriented. But in the last couple of years, there has been a lot more interest from the women themselves in policies, in politics. So I very much welcome this slate of 10. For the PAP, it's a bumper crop. It's the largest single group of new candidates, who are women that we are fielding. And it's very significant. In total, we are fielding 27 new candidates. 10 of them are women. Just think about that. I would say that we've come a long way. I'd like to see how this goes further.
How do you feel about the switch from BISHAN-TOA GRC to contesting at JALAN BESAR GRC?
Well, of course, I miss the residents and my grassroots leaders there. You develop relationship with people and you work together to solve problems. So it's kind of difficult to have to say goodbye. And yet there is this responsibility to come and, help with the party's renewal. So here I am. I haven't had the chance to properly say goodbye, and thank all my grassroots leaders and residents in BISHAN-TOA. That will have to wait. But I certainly hope to do that. But in JALAN BESAR, I will make new friends. I have already started to make quite a lot of new friends, so I'm happy about that.
What is one thing about JALAN BESAR GRC that stood out to you?
This is a place with a lot of heritage. Your Bugis, Balestier, Kolam Ayer, and then Arab Street, and even Keong Siap, which is now kind of a nice hip place, right? Desker Road area. Of course, not forgetting Chinatown. It's a thriving city centre, and still has a certain kampong spirit about it. So that juxtaposition is quite interesting for me.
Which is more difficult, being an MP or a minister?
Not as difficult as being the spouse of either an MP or a minister. You'll never get to see your wife or husband, and you are going to have to solve all problems on your own because your other half, the MP or the minister, they have other responsibilities. So my heart goes to all the spouses, the partners.
Did you expect to become a minister when you first entered politics in 2006?
I never thought of, politics as being anything but, for me to exercise my democratic right to vote, every 5 years or so. So it was never in my kind of on my radar. And then when it came up, then I have to face the question to be part of it, or in a more direct way, or how. My children were very young at the time. My son was 8 years old when I took part in GE 2006, and I recall thinking to myself, what reason do I have to do this? And I think ultimately it was that in Singapore it's quite remarkable. You can have very ordinary background, and the system allows you to go quite far. And so then the question is, what can you do for the next generation so that people of different backgrounds can also go quite far? Don't we owe them, that privilege? So that was what was in my mind.
You've had stints in different ministries. Which stint proved to be the most challenging and why?
Wow. Okay. Wow, I thought that question is very obvious. But okay, I'll put it this way. Actually, every ministry has been tough in its own way. But I would say the most difficult assignment, which is Manpower Ministry right now. Because COVID-19 has really thrown us a huge curveball. It's a huge curveball. It's just something that is completely, totally unexpected. And it's come with us with a vengeance. And we'll have to deal with it.
Would you say the COVID-19 outbreak at migrant worker dorms has been the biggest challenge for your career?
It is. Somebody wrote, I think I came across it, that if you think of all the migrant workers added up in our dormitories, they are about the size of 2 Ang Mo Kio GRCs. That's a lot of workers, and we have to be responsible for them. They've come to Singapore to work, and while in Singapore, we have a duty to look after them, certainly to ensure that they can go home safely to their own families.
Do you feel that there was a lapse in preventing spikes in COVID-19 cases within migrant workers' dormitories?
This virus is so unknown. At the time when it started spreading so quickly, of course, number one concern is, how do you protect the workers? One gap was, in understanding how the virus transmits. And for a period of time, for quite a long period of time, the doctors were more likely to say that, without symptoms, it doesn't transmit. But as it turns out, you can have asymptomatic transmission. So that was one big unknown, one gap. I think with this virus, we have to be very humble. We must accept the fact that there might be certain other aspects of the virus which we still do not understand. There must still be gaps in our knowledge and understanding. And we have to be quite agile. We don't know whether it will floor us when we suddenly realize something that we didn't before. So that's a huge challenge.
You were the third woman to be made a full minister in the cabinet. Does it feel like a boys' club at times?
Never really. Well, I would say that 2 groups of people trained me well. One is my secondary school classmates. Our class had the rowdiest boys. So, they got into trouble with the discipline master regularly, and they brought along the girls in our class to take part in all those troublemaking.
What's the biggest problem facing the Manpower Ministry now?
Jobs, and jobs. I was in NTUC when we had the global financial crisis, and during SARS I was already working in human resources. I don't think I've seen anything like this before. I think a lot of people will compare what we have experienced in the past and probably feel the same way. I'd like to be optimistic about the future, and I think we have some things going for us that will help, but I don't want to underestimate the difficulty. And we're going to have to work very hard.
How do you envisage the future of the construction industry's labour? Will we still be operating on the same model of relying on foreign workers in the years to come?
We should be more manpower lean. And we have actually started doing that even before COVID-19 hit. In this year's Committee of Supply, both Ministry of National Development and MOM had talked about tightening of the foreign manpower policies for construction sector. I think what COVID-19 has just, made us do is to try and accelerate the transformation of the construction sector. I think it is not just manpower use, it's also how we can, carry out work more safely for the protection of the workers themselves, but also of the broader community.
What is something you like to do but you can't because you're a minister?
Oh, I'd like to have purple highlights.
You've come under great scrutiny for your comments and views. Do you ever feel that people scrutinize you more because you're a woman?
I think women do get scrutinized a lot more. I remember there was one occasion, this was on the eve of Chinese New Year. There was Parliament sitting, but I had a reunion dinner to go to. This was with my father-in-law. So I thought, okay, I don't have time to change, so I'm going to put on a bright colour because, I think it will make my father-in-law quite happy. For family reunion, to be in cheerful colours. So, surprise, surprise, that night, after I went home, I received an email. And there was a person who wrote to me and said that, oh, I saw you on TV and you were wearing bright red. Yeah, Parliament is not a place to wear bright red. So I said, oh, okay, that's interesting. So, you know, people watch for these things, and I don't know that they apply the same attention to the male MPs as to the females, but that's a reality.
Do you think politics and the public attention you've received throughout your career has changed you?
Made me a better person, more attuned to the whole broad spectrum of our society, feel more connected with people. I think that is quite priceless. You know, no other job will give you the same degree of connectedness with people.
What do you do to relieve stress?
I'd like to sing actually, yeah, in the shower, so no one else can need to listen to me. That's quite good. Exercise is also a very good form of stress relief. Deep breathing.
Personally, how do you think Singaporean can better treat foreign worker?
I think we have to consider things from their perspective. They've left their homes, they've left their families. I hope we are more gracious towards them and put ourselves in their shoes. How would you like to be treated if you went to another country to work and, you know, carried out the most difficult, duties that people don't quite like to do?
What is a personal value that you particularly resonate with?
Honesty. I dislike dishonesty, whether at work, in personal relationship. So, yeah, that's one core value.
In an interview, you said you used to play a lot of basketball in secondary school. Do you still play basketball now?
Well, I cannot shoot hoops for nuts lah. Cannot really lah. Yeah. Yeah, there was a time that I was not bad at it, reasonably good at it. Now cannot.
How do you hope to be remembered as Minister of Manpower?
I really don't know. I don't know the answer to this question. I don't give it much thought actually. Yeah. I'm so immersed in the current work. Can I think about that? In future, maybe I'll be able to give you an answer. Now I really can't.